I call to order this Town of Monument Town Council special meeting, Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll?
Mayor LaKind.
Here.
Councilmember Romanello is absent with prior notice. Mayor Pro Tem King.
Here.
Councilmember Abbott.
Here.
Councilmember Kimple.
Here.
Councilmember Chronic.
Here.
Councilmember Fiorito.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. I think there's one thing missing on here, and that is the acceptance of the agenda. Do we not need to accept the agenda on a special meeting? Okay.
You can have that if you want to.
No, that's okay. All right. The first thing up is
It was
this.
approved by your attorney.
I know the attorney wrote it. Just wanted to clarify. Okay, first thing up is the disclosures of the conflicts of interest. No. Bob, do you want to speak to this item? Mr. Cole? Mr. Cole, can you unmute yourself?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, this item is on the agenda because of your home rule charter. Section 2.10 of your home rule charter requires council members declare conflicts of interest if they have any on matters coming before council. And so this is intended to allow council members that may have a potential conflict of interest to make those declarations this evening. The conflict statements that are going to be provided to you were filed with the Secretary of State. That's a statutory requirement as a home rule municipality. You may not have to comply with that state statute, but we did nonetheless. So at this point, I think we need to receive some potential conflict declarations from 4 council members, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I believe everybody has provided them. They've all been registered with the Secretary of State as you had suggested and delivered to Mr.
town
Anderson.
clerk.
Town clerk. We got a lot of Mr. Andersons. Okay, so then go ahead.
I was just going to add to that, those statements were filed by Mayor LaKind, council members King, Abbott, and Chronic, and they should be before the council. If they're not, we can get you copies of those at this point.
Okay, I don't believe everybody has gotten copies.
Do you
have
need
not seen-
copies?
You have not seen the copies of the conflict of interest statements. We'll get them. So we're going to need copies for.
Well, do you need copies?
We
up-
need to make them available to all the council members. If you've got one version you want to pass it through, that's fine, but we need to have those disclosed to each council member.
Mhm. Oh, you brought copies for everybody?
Not for everybody. He said pass.
Oh, okay.
One for each one.
Just pass them down to, I don't,
They're all the same.
they're all the
Do Kyle, do you have one copy of each one? You don't have them with you? Okay.
I have another one too.
Mr. Cole, are we to keep these copies or do they get turned back in?
They can be turned back in, or they can be kept. They're public records, so does it really matter?
Okay. Do you have one? You need Laura, this is Laura, Councilmember Cronix. Yeah, is that all Councilmember Cronix?
Do you have one for all
Oh.
four?
Okay. It sounds like, yeah. You have copies of all of them?
I have Cronix.
You have Cron.
You have mine? Okay, I handed my original. They can make copies. Do what?
Kings is right there. They've got it. So do you have everybody else's? So
Mr.
good.
Cole, what is your suggestion if we have all the copies as far as moving forward goes?
Yeah, so we just need to circulate that through the council members so that you're all aware of the declared potential conflicts of interest. And I apologize that this procedure is not a little bit cleaner tonight. We'll get it polished up. It is a new one under your charter. And just to remind each council member, if you have a potential conflict of interest, your obligation is to declare it by providing a statement to the council. So we'll want to have a statement of that disclosure available for the council the night of a meeting at which an action could come before council that could implicate the potential conflict. And then later in the meeting, we'll be asking you to vote on those. Your charter actually requires council to vote on whether council members should be excused and from consideration of matters in which they have a potential conflict of interest. So we'll ask you for a formal vote on those disclosures a little bit later. And then if that's the case, the council members need to excuse themselves from consideration of those matters and leave the room when they're being considered. The exception to that is if it's required in order to maintain a quorum to be able to conduct business, a conflicted council member can remain and can vote on a matter, but they should not discuss or try to influence the outcome of the vote.
Okay. Everybody got that? Everybody understand? Okay. Then we'll move on to 3A. Mr. Cole?
Yes, this is a proposed executive session pursuant to 24-6-4024B for a conference with myself, the interim town attorney, for purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions relating to the report of investigation findings dated December 28, 2022, and the proposed resolutions numbers 26, 7, and 8, 2023 that are on your agenda for later this evening. I would request that the motion include an indication of whether the council wishes to have the executive session recorded or not. An executive session to receive legal advice is the one exception in the law that would otherwise require an executive session to be recorded with an audio recording.
Okay. Do I hear, everybody understand about the recording as we've done other executive sessions? Okay, so do we have,
Mayor,
We're gonna forego the recording in this case because it's attorney-client discussions, correct?
correct, and that would have to be added to the motion.
Okay.
yep. And also, let me remind you that we are recording the Teams meeting. And so you'd need to instruct us not to record the Teams meeting while we're having the Teams meeting since Bob Cole's on Teams.
I was gonna ask a question. Do we want to go upstairs?
I don't think so.
No, stay here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do I hear of a motion for 3A?
I make a motion to move into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 sub 4 sub B for a conference with the interim town attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions relating to the report of investigation findings dated December 28th, 2022, and proposed resolutions numbers 26, 27, 28-2023. This executive session will not be recorded for additionally will not be recorded, and Teams will also not be recorded.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimple,
Yes.
Councilmember Chronic,
Yes.
Councilmember Fiorito,
Yes.
Councilmember Abbott. Yes. Mayor LaKind.
Yes. Okay, that motion passes 6-0. We're now going into executive session. We'll take a few minutes to stop all the recordings and